Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello to you wherever you are. My name is Delilah and I want you to join me in my week. I set up the camera this week and just kind of film myself doing stuff around my home. So this isn't your typical vlog style where I'd be talking to the camera. That just isn't realistic for me to film in this stage of life. But a lot of you really enjoy those vlog style videos, so I'm doing it a little bit differently. I'm taking you throughout my week in this way as I go about cleaning my home and taking care of my family and cooking and doing some DIY projects. And I'm going to talk about those things as I do them, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about housekeeping versus homemaking today because I want to challenge you a little bit in this area and share some of my thoughts that I've been having about that recently. I'm in my kitchen almost all day, every day, or at least in that general area of my home, and so I often forget about this half of our house. Because I'm not here a lot during the day, it's very easy for me to forget to clean this area. So once or twice a week, I will take like 15 minutes and just speed clean this area. I'll put away Annie's laundry, and I'll put away diapers, and I'll put away things like that. Speaking of diapers, I get a lot of questions about cloth diapering and whether or not we are still cloth diapering. I would love to say that we are, but so far I have not started doing it yet. I have all of the cloth diapers in her dresser ready to go. They've been there since before she was born, but I haven't actually committed to it yet. Right now, it feels like a huge commitment that I can't take on. Maybe this is the encouragement that I need to just start doing it again. I think in the eyes of social media, homekeeping mainly refers to the physical act of housekeeping. Taking care of your home, and that is a huge part of homemaking, but that's not all of it. Homemaking is so much more than just washing the dishes and doing the laundry and cleaning up your home. Homemaking is making your house feel like a home. And what makes a house feel like a home more than the feeling that you get when you walk into that home? Of course, a tidy home and a clean space is part of that feeling, but do you feel safe? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel at peace within your home? How do people feel when they unexpectedly walk into your home? Do they feel welcome, or do they feel like maybe they shouldn't have shown up because you didn't first completely tidy up your home and you're frantically running around trying to clean things up, or you're embarrassed about what's going on inside of your home? What is the feeling that people get? I was listening to a podcast recently which touched a little bit on this subject. It got me thinking and challenging myself to have the mindset of just having joy in my heart, no matter my circumstance, no matter what my home looks like, not allowing myself to be stressed or upset just because my home isn't looking the way that I want it to look, just because there's baskets of laundry and toys scattered across the house. What is my attitude toward the chores that I'm doing? Like how am I reacting when I see that I have a lot of work set out for me because my home is a mess? Do I feel extremely overwhelmed and grouchy? Do I feel frustrated when the kids throw toys around the house after I just clean them up? Do I get angry when my kids spill milk on the floor? Can I welcome people into my home even when it's not perfectly clean? I've been trying to work on my heart posture behind homemaking and hosting. I really want my home to be a place where people feel God's presence, where they feel at home, where they feel welcome, kind of like coming into grandma's house, that home where you just feel comfortable in and you feel welcomed and loved. That's what I want people to feel when they come into my home. Before I continue on, I want to take a brief moment to thank Birch Living for sponsoring today's video. Their Labor Day early access sale is live now, so make sure to go and check the link in the description box to check them out. Let me take a minute to explain to you why I love Birch mattresses so much. First of all, they are made with responsibly sourced materials such as organic cotton, organic wool, and 100% natural latex, which means that their mattresses are free from harmful polyurethane foams and fiberglass. As you know, we've been making a lot of changes around here to our lifestyle and to our diet. We did not realize how many toxins are around us in our everyday lives that we just had no idea about. It's a whole rabbit hole. But when we learned about off-gassing that often happens from mattresses that we sleep on every single night, the #1 requirement for us when we upgraded our mattress was to find one that was made of natural materials. That is one of many reasons why we absolutely love our new Birch Luxe natural mattress. Did you know that most mattresses are made with flame retardants such as cheap fiberglass, whereas Birch uses the natural flame resistance of wool in their mattress instead? In fact, they even have their own facility where they make these mattresses to ensure that they do not come in contact with any such materials. The natural materials these mattresses are made of naturally help regulate body temperature, and the wool they use is hypoallergenic, which means that it is both allergen and mildew resistant. We've been sleeping on our Birch Luxe natural mattress for a few months now, and we love it. I actually asked Zach yesterday what his thoughts were on this mattress and if he had anything to say about it, and he told me that his back pain has completely disappeared since making the switch to this mattress. Before, he would wake up with a really sore back, like a pinched nerve or something, but since we upgraded to this mattress, he is pain-free. Not to mention, our sleep quality has improved significantly, and I have the peace of mind knowing that I'm sleeping on a mattress that is made with material sourced straight from nature. With Birch, you get a 100-night sleep trial and 25-year warranty. You can get this delivered directly to your door, and you can even opt for in-home setup. They'll actually remove your old mattress and bring in your new one to set it all up for you to make it as convenient as possible. And if you live in the US, you also have the advantage of free shipping. As an added bonus, each Birch mattress also comes with 2 EcoRest pillows made from recycled materials that are both breathable and better for the environment. I love my Birch mattress, and I know you will too. If you are looking for a new bed, check out Birch Living. The Labor Day early access sale is live right now, so it is the perfect time to upgrade your sleep with 20% off a Birch mattress plus 2 free EcoRest pillows. Visit birchliving.com/SlepKeysLife to see more. You can find all that information down in the description box. And again, thank you so much to Birch for sponsoring today's video. Let's rewind a little bit and come back to this mattress. There was a water stain on my mattress. One of my sons had spilled my water bottle on my bed, and I forgot about it until I removed the sheets to clean them and realized there was this big water stain. I tried scrubbing it first with some all-purpose cleaner. It wasn't really doing the trick, so I turned to my trusty Oxygen Boost and scrubbed it, let it sit for a little bit, and then we have this handy like carpet cleaner. It simultaneously sprays water while also vacuuming it up and cleaning it, and I will leave this link down below because it's fantastic. But that is exactly what I needed to get that water stain out of the mattress. I don't know about you, but I am someone who can very easily get into a recipe rut. I've been feeling a little bit uninspired, so I've just been going back to the basics, the things that I am familiar with cooking. I am starting to get some fresh produce, not from our garden. Unfortunately, our garden is not performing well this year. It had a really rough start in spring with all the cold and the rain, but I feel very fortunate to have access to fresh, local, organic food. Nothing tastes better than fresh grown potatoes and green beans and peas and cucumbers. It is my favorite. So we've been cooking a lot with locally grown fresh foods lately, and I've been keeping it so simple because we've been very busy, so I'm trying to simplify our meals as well. So I'm just roasting some potatoes, very simple. Also, it is this time of day that I crash. Like making supper and eating supper, it's that time of day where I'm just exhausted. Anyway, aside from the potatoes, we're also having a side of simple steamed green beans. Just green beans, salt, butter, easy. I also have some corn that Zach threw on the grill, and then I poured some herbed butter over top. And then for our protein, Zach smoked a brisket. We haven't had brisket in a really long time, and so this was such a treat. I also whipped up some cornbread on the side. This is how I've been cooking a lot lately. I'll choose like the meat or the protein, and then I'll just add a bunch of sides to it that are really easy to make. This last weekend, we had gone to IKEA and we had purchased another one of those sensory tables. I don't remember what they're called. But our kids have been doing a lot of coloring, a lot of crafting lately. This table has been getting some very heavy use, and just one table wasn't enough for our 4 kids. They're always fighting over the space on top. One kid wanted to use the sensory bins underneath filled with kinetic sand, and the other kid wanted to play with stickers and crafts and stuff like that on top. And so we're like, you know what, let's just go and let's buy another table, and we can have extra storage inside the table, and then our kids can have more space to color and use that table. So while the kids are playing outside, I wanted to surprise them by setting it up for them. And they have used this so much ever since. I'm so glad we did this. It does take up a lot of floor space in our playroom, but I think this is space that is very well used, and because it is 2 separate tables, I can easily separate them. I can leave one upstairs, I can move one downstairs. We've got a lot of options here. So I just rearrange things a little bit. I like to freshen up the playroom every once in a while. We had just done a toy rotation, so I didn't need to do a full rotation, but I did stick a few things inside these tables just to give them some surprises and some new places to play with things. I find sometimes even just moving a toy from one spot to another allows them to play with it more. I don't know why, but it becomes this whole new exciting thing. I do want to go back to IKEA and get bigger bins so that inside these tables we can store things like Duplo Lego, even things like magnet tiles, and then the kids can have a surface and storage area for things like that. Aside from basic housekeeping duties and having a good attitude in your home and making it feel like a welcoming place to be, homemaking is even more than that. It is making your home feel beautiful. And this is probably my favorite part about homemaking, because I love being creative. I love decorating. I love putting my own touches on my home, and putting artwork on the walls and rearranging things, and you've seen me do that a couple of times now in this video. It's things like DIY projects that I just love. I'm passionate about it. It gives me a project, it gives me something to do, something to get excited about. These 3 things combined is what really makes homemaking. It's the joy of being at home and creating a happy place to be and to welcome others and to share the love of Jesus with whoever is inside the walls of your home. Annie is joining me for a brief moment here, so if you hear little baby noises, that's just her. What you see me doing here is making my sourdough sandwich bread. This is something I make every week. I've talked about it so many times in the last year or 2 since I started making it at home. I no longer buy any sort of bread from the store. And the main reason for that is just because of the ingredients that are in there. I don't feel comfortable eating those things. I don't feel comfortable serving my family those things. And so if I'm able to make bread at home, I will. So I make sourdough sandwich bread once or twice a week. I make buns, I make tortillas and pitas. I am working on bagels. I make English muffins, all kinds of things. And I'm slowly adding more and more recipes to my list of things that I make. I also want to encourage you mamas the importance of washing dishes. It's one of those chores that feels very unappreciated. It feels very redundant. I feel like I'm washing dishes all day long. I'm constantly doing dishes. We run this dishwasher probably 2 or 3 times a day. And it's very easy to have an ungrateful heart when I'm doing this. But this is such an important job, and your family benefits so much from you doing this. So I just want to say that I see you moms. I see what you're doing. I see how you serve your family. And I want you to know that you are so appreciated. What you do is so appreciated and so important. I am slowly trying to get back into a routine of doing a chore every single day instead of skipping chores like these throughout the week and then doing it all on one day on the weekend. Today's chore was cleaning out the fridge, and I was embarrassed by how long it had been since I've done this. I didn't realize how bad it was. I don't show you a close-up here, but it was pretty gross. I find in summertime it's very easy for me to let these things slide and to forget about them because I want to be outside, and that's where I want to spend my time, in my garden and in my yard and in the sunshine. And a lot of things within my home don't get tended to properly. Whenever there is a rainy day or a day when the weather just isn't quite as nice, I will be inside working on this, trying to tackle this to-do list. Sometimes I can feel very overwhelmed by the amount of things that I have allowed to pile up in my home. Normally I'm someone who likes to stay really on top of things, but there is a time and a place, and in summer that's just not the season for it. And so seeing all of it, like walking around my home, I can get so overwhelmed. To combat this, I try to tackle one small thing at a time. So today it was the fridge. The next day it'll be, vacuuming the entire house completely, very thoroughly. The next day it could be cleaning up all the toys and organizing them in the playroom. The next day could be going through the books that we have, or even going through a closet, like just very slowly tackling one thing at a time. And before I know it, things are starting to come together, and just having even one thing completed is enough encouragement for me to continue on and do more. Today I wanted to try something a little bit different. I've never done this before. I wanted to make crackers. This has been on my to-do list for so long. But I've just haven't quite worked up the nerve to do it. I can't explain to you why. It's just a new thing for me, and sometimes new things are very intimidating for me, even though I knew this was going to be very easy. It's just something I put off for a really long time. I'll leave the recipe I use linked down below, but these are basic cheese crackers, very easy. They're like 5 ingredients, and to make the dough you pretty much just throw everything in a blender and blend it up. You pat the dough into squares and refrigerate it for a few hours. When you're ready to come back to it, you just need to roll it out, divide it into squares, and bake them. It's very easy. Slowly I'm trying to make more and more snacks at home, and I'm very comfortable making sweet things like granola bars, things like muffins, baked goods. But to make things like crackers is just such a new territory for me. However, I was very happy with the flavor of these, how simple they were, how little time they took to make. I will note that next time I need to bake them longer though, because they didn't come out crispy. The flavor was great, but they weren't quite crunchy enough. The kids really enjoyed these too. Zach really liked them as well. This is a recipe that I'm going to continue tweaking and will add to my family recipes. This is a DIY project I've been meaning to do for honestly a couple of years now. If you watched my patio makeover video a few years ago, I'll leave that link below if you're curious, you will remember this fire table. This fire table has been well used and well loved. But the side table that you see there that's painted white, that is a table that hides the propane tank for the fire table. And that side table had gotten very chipped and cracked from our cold, harsh winters. The top was completely falling apart, so we fixed it up. We fixed it up with a lot of spackling and then some paint and some sanding. And then obviously we needed to paint it. And I didn't want to have gray because our couches are gray and it felt like a lot of gray. I also didn't really want to spend a lot of money into this project either. Originally I wanted to paint these like a dark brown, like almost black, just to add some depth to the area. But from that patio makeover, we had a can of off-white paint that we had used on the door. And so I thought, let's just try and use what we have so that we don't have to spend money on this first and see how we feel about it. So once we had painted these, they weren't feeling right. They were feeling very bright, not really what I was going for. So I found some paint samples downstairs. I thought maybe let's try and make this look like a stone or something, you know, add some depth of color to it. But it just wasn't working. It wasn't looking right. I couldn't figure it out. And so finally I just stopped and I brought it to our backyard to see how it would look. Right away I knew it didn't look right, but I thought maybe if I just style it, it'll look right. And it wasn't until I really stepped back and looked at it that I realized this was the wrong color. You can see the difference between the table and the back door. I didn't realize we had a can of untinted paint in the basement, and I suppose that was the color that we had used. So it was back to the drawing board. I took it back into the garage, added a couple coats of the proper paint. And although you can't see the difference in this shot, it was quite drastic, and it looks much better now, and I'm very happy with how it came out. But this is all part of the process, you know, you're gonna make mistakes, especially within homemaking. There are gonna be things that just aren't going to work out the first time, maybe not even the second time or the third time. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to make bagels and they didn't work out, or buns or bread, but I keep trying, and eventually I'll get there and I'll learn from my mistakes. And I don't really know where I'm going with this anymore, but the video is over, so I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.